What would you call this? If you're technologically knowledgeable, you'll know that these particular files are called .gif files. But how would you pronounce that as a word? Well, it's simple. It's pronounced. This war between GIF and GIF has been raging on since the .gif file was first introduced, all because of that damn letter G. But what if I told you that both pronunciations are actually correct? Now, if you're like all these people, you're probably not going to like what I'm going to talk about, as I'm again going to completely sidestep the original question and talk about something you probably didn't even want me to talk about. Dialects. Though the inventors of the GIF all say it's pronounced GIF, the debate still rages on. Proponents of GIF will argue that the G stands for graphics, and there's also the word gift, which is close enough, I guess. I personally just don't like G's being pronounced like J's. You already have a letter, stop stealing letters, voice post-alveolar affricate. However, proponents of GIF say that's more irrelevant, and point at acronyms like the Central American Free Trade Agreement and how it's pronounced CAFTA, despite it not being the Central American Free Trade Agreement. Or something like how NATO doesn't stand for the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, or stuff like that. Now, why is there such a dispute? Well, it's actually quite simple. Just look at this phrase. How do you pronounce it? If you're like me, you probably pronounce it the routes to caramel shop, while everyone else, also probably including you, would have probably pronounced it the route to the caramel shop in Harvard Yard. The point I'm trying to make here is that we differ on the pronunciations on dozens of different words, and we rarely dispute them unless they're somewhat more obscure pronunciations, like the infamous a boot. While many outside Canada make fun of people who actually do say a boot or a boat, this kind of stigma obviously doesn't extend to every word in the language. Of course, GIF is a bit different, as the dispute here would have arisen due to the fact that it's a computer term, and so therefore, and it's our cliche joke about computer nerds not having any friends, there was never really a true verbal prompt on how to pronounce it. So what am I saying? Am I saying that the GIF-GIF dispute is just one more way we choose to divide ourselves into little conflicting tribes? Actually, yes, I kind of am saying that. If there's anything we're good at, it's making small ideological distinctions, whether it be to align ourselves with like-minded people, or to divide ourselves from those who don't quite think like us. Now, I'm actually more neutral in the argument, but proponents of GIF often spell with the J for demonstration purposes, and if you have to spell wrong to know how to pronounce it, you're pronouncing it wrong. Just saying, fight me English. That being said, there are more ways to pronounce it if you want to stay more neutral, like GIF. GIF actually is of course an acronym. It stands for Graphics Interchange Format. And while we often like to pronounce acronyms as words to save time and energy, we don't pronounce all initialisms like URS, or USA, or NASA, or ISA, or Bibica, or PIDX, or Yamaka, or Diftaba as words. Now, GIF can be pronounced GIF, GIF, or GIF, and they're all completely, 100%, absolutely, totally correct. None of them are actually wrong in any way. However, many people who create things and name them often have people pronouncing things differently from how they were originally intended to be pronounced. I mean, it's not an infrequent occurrence that someone pronounces this channel's name like KhAnubis, despite how much I emphasize that it rhymes with Anubis, which is why the A is capitalized. It's pronounced KhAnubis, just for the record, it's pronounced KhAnubis. Of course, if you really want to piss people off, why not just pick your own wacky pronunciation? Something like GIF, or GIF, or GIF, or really whatever you want. This is the internet, and this is the English language. Really, the important thing to understanding the rules of English spelling and pronunciation? There are no rules. So, how does one actually pronounce GIF? Well, I honestly still don't know, but what I do know is that this video was part of yet another WeCreateEDU group collaboration between a bunch of really cool educational channels which you should check out. Since it's December, we decided to call it the GIF Exchange, so that's why I just made a video about GIFs. Thanks to Cheryl from the Roving Nationalist for sending me that para-GIF that I used in the intro. Now be sure to go to Art Explains to see which GIF I sent him to use in his video. I will see you on Sunday.